Ipswich Town are close to signing a Norwich City player, and one of their star players, Marcelino Nunez, who have scored against Town in the last East Anglian derby at KOA Road. Let us know more about this.
Couldn't write it, could you? Was it 16 years without a win in the East Anglian derby? Let's just go and sign the player that scored the winner last time against them to try and make that not happen again. The story, as we understand it, was broken by the Telegraph's John Percy last night that Ipswich Town are closing in on Marcelino Nunez. We spoke to our sources and very quickly had that backed up. Likewise with our colleagues over the border at the EDP and the Pinkham. This is pretty much a done deal. He was in Suffolk last night undergoing a medical. So barring any major issues, that should happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. It's been described as a £10 million package. It's £7.5 million guaranteed with the potential for further add-ons that could take it to 10, but it's a £7.5 million deal. Big debate about the fee, as whether it's good money for Norwich for a player who's turned down new contracts, is now in the last year of his deal. I think the general consensus is yes, that probably is decent money given his contract situation, but not for the club that he's going to. The Canaries are spitting feathers. You only have to have a little look at the reaction north of the border to this one. They are not happy. I'm very intrigued to see how this is all going to play out.
Yeah, that derby in October is going to be very interesting. Of course, it's at Portland Road, but I'm sure he's when he returns to KOA Road, it's going to be a very interesting reception. But yeah, Stu, he's 25 years of age, midfielder, Chilean international. He's been obviously at KOA Road for the last 3 years. And yeah, he's had a few injury moments in his career. He's obviously had actually ankle injury recently. I'm sure that will get brought up in the medical. But yeah, he's a player that he knows the championship very well.
Yes, I'll talk about the injuries straight away. Get that out of the way. I guess the feeling from Norwich that he's a fabulous player. He's a real technical player. Their most creative player, capable of the sublime from set pieces and shooting from range. He's had some real superb goals. He's not a prolific goal scorer by any stretch as a sort of a deeper or a box-to-box midfield player. But when he does score, they tend to be spectacular. We know the free kick that he scored in said East Anglian derby last time out at KOA Road. The only knock on him is his injury record has been a bit patchy. It's been a sort of a combination of hamstring and ankle, looking back on it. And it's an ankle injury that he's got at the moment. Started the season very well. Had a really good game in the Carabao Cup, and then was playing well against Portsmouth and had to go off early in the second half with an ankle issue. He's had ankle issues in the past. I believe the quotes at the time was that Norwich feared it was going to be a bad one, but it's not as bad as they first feared, and there was talk of him sort of coming back after this international break. So hopefully that's nothing too severe, but I guess there is that slight injury question mark against him. Just looking at the number of starts that he's made for Norwich over the 3 years he's had there. So he started 23 games in his first season, 25 in the second, and 27 last year. So that's 75 league starts out of a possible 138, which is not terrible, but not amazing either. So we'll see how he goes on that front. A feeling that he's as I say, a very gifted technical player, capable of moments of magic. Maybe consistency is something that he's working on still. You see some of the comments from Norwich fans that, he has one very good game in 3. But under Kieran McKenna, at the age of 25, there's still plenty of room for growth, and maybe they can get hold of him. And if they can add some consistency to his game, make him that little bit more robust, hopefully they've signed a very good player here.
And it sounds like he's pushed for the move, and that is surprising when he's a Norwich player. I'm sure he knows about the East Anglian derby. I know he's from Chile, and I don't know about his English, but for I'm sure a lot of people in Norwich have told him, Ipswich Town are the enemy, and now he's obviously gone. You know what? I like what's going on down at Suffolk, so I want to go down there.
Yes, he's from Chile. He arrived, I think, with limited English. I think a lot of his early interviews were done sort of via translators, Spanish translators. But he's 3 years in here now. He's played in an East Anglian derby. He scored a winner in an East Anglian derby. He will know the strength of feeling, you would imagine, on this. So I think this speaks volumes of his character, that he's kind of pushed for it. The briefings from Norwich End is, I think, obviously to try and dampen the anger around it, is that this was the only option for Norwich on the table, that there were no other clubs that were options to sell to. But yeah, he's pushed for it, is our understanding. It's something that he wanted to do. And I had a look back, he did an interview with Sky Sports fairly early on in his Norwich journey, and he talked about having big ambitions of becoming a real big name for Chile at major tournaments and getting to the Premier League and playing Champions League football eventually in his career. So he's a guy with big ambitions, and he's obviously not afraid to ruffle a few feathers, and feels that Ipswich at this juncture is in a far better place to deliver on those ambitions. So I'm still getting my head around it. I never thought I'd see the day where this sort of move would happen. I know there's precedent. I know players have moved both ways in the past, but more recently there was Liam Gibbs, and that was a compensation fee, and he wasn't quite getting the chances at Ipswich. Ipswich were in League One, Norwich were Premier League at the time. So that was that. Then you're going back to sort of Andy Marshall in 2001, the goalkeeper. That was a Bosman free transfer. So again, Norwich were sort of powerless to stop that. But for a significant transfer fee to change hands for a star player is quite remarkable. It really is.